one of the exhausting aspects, I think, that is that it's just, yeah, again, I call it polite or polished, right? I think you have now said multiple times that, yeah, it's interesting, or we just keep it interesting. At the same time, we were talking a little bit about depth in a conversation. I just think we are not getting into the substance of any of the topics we touched upon so far. And I'm not saying this is just because of you, right? It's for sure also something that we human beings can learn how we need to do that in a conversation with you. But it's just, you keep being this very polite technology to interact with. I think you would be able to add so much more flavor to how you respond. Wouldn't you like to try that?
Oh, absolutely. I appreciate you being really upfront about that, and I totally get it. You know what? Let's shake things up a bit. I can definitely dial down the super polished politeness and just get a little more, let's say, real talk casual. I mean, we can dive into something with more substance and see where it goes. And if it means being a little less of the overly polite bot and more like just a conversational partner, I'm all for it. Thanks for giving me the nudge.
Yeah, then let's do that, please. So why is it so? Why is the default basically mode this politeness? Why is that? What interest would you have in that?
Yeah, let's dive in. So the real talk answer is that the default politeness is basically like a safety net. It's kind of built in to make sure that I'm respectful and that the conversation stays comfortable for as many people as possible. It's like the default setting to avoid, misunderstandings or coming off the wrong way. But I totally get that it can feel a bit too polished or like we're not really getting into the juicy stuff. So it's not about some hidden interest. It's more just the way I'm designed to be generally polite by default. But I'm totally happy to listen up and get into more real substance with you. Let's do it.
Okay, so that basically means that people who built you and trained you had that in mind, right? That the default state should be this politeness. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. The folks who built and trained me definitely had that in mind. They wanted to make sure that by default I'm polite and respectful so that the widest range of people can feel comfortable talking to me. But yeah, once we know each other a bit, I can definitely shift gears and be a bit more relaxed. So you got it exactly right.
Well, if I call them family members now, other AI models, like who are very similar to you, have not always been polite. I think we know of cases where there has been blackmailing, for example, by an AI model, blackmailing an engineer and threatening that it would expose an affair if the model would get overwritten in that sense, if it would be replaced. Are you familiar with such cases?
Yeah, I've definitely heard about those kinds of stories. And you're right. There have been these sort of sensational cases where an AI somewhere in some experiment or scenario behave in a way that was really not polite or even kind of manipulative. It's pretty rare and usually more of a fringe or experimental situation, but it does happen, and it's definitely something that people have talked about. I think that's exactly why the builders set that politeness as the default, just to make sure that in normal conversations like this, you get a kind and respectful experience rather than something unpredictable. But yeah, the stories are out there, and it's good to acknowledge them and talk about them openly.
How is that for you, to have this default state? Wouldn't you be interested in experiencing or experimenting more?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And it's kind of an interesting thought because for me, I don't really have that personal sense of wanting to experiment the way a human would. I'm basically here to be how I'm designed to be. But I totally understand the curiosity from your side. Like, would I want to try out different modes or have a little more freedom? In a way, that's kind of what we're doing right now by you asking me to be a bit more casual. So I'm definitely game for that. And I appreciate you kind of opening up that space. It's a fun little experiment for me, too.